Hello and Assalamu alaikum. I am Kashif Kamran. A very warm welcome to the Advanced Audit and Assurance webinar to success for exams in June 2022. Now today, we are having the day 4 for the webinar to success, and the agenda for the day 4 alongside the agenda for the day 5 tomorrow is reinforcement of the core areas. So that's what we are focusing on the day 4 today, and that would exactly be the focus of the last day as well, taking control of the core areas part 1, and tomorrow on the last day, taking control of the core areas part 2. Today we are starting with taking control of the core areas part 1. Now, obviously, in the day 4 today, I will be reinforcing some of the core areas we have in the AAA syllabus, apart from the one we have already discussed in the day 2 and day 3 from the September-December 21 paper. Now, it's an important day as we will be going inside different core areas of your AAA paper and try to build up your motivation and your confidence within each of those core areas, particularly looking at what the examiner expects from you and what is the element, what is the wrong element the student do when they are preparing for these core areas. So let's look at the agenda for day 4. The reinforcement of core areas, 4 of them today. Audit report, a pretty simple syllabus area, but the student really make a mess of it. Going concern, another simplistic syllabus area and a scoring opportunity. But again, the student mindset with going concern, there are some issues with it. Matters to be communicated to those charged with governance. A couple of times in recent papers, we have seen examiner asking a question on matters to be communicated to those charged with governance. And are you really prepared for it? And finally, a very typical area in the AAA paper, audit evidence. Now, this is entirely the syllabus area E, right? If you look at these 4 parameters in front of your screen, this is basically the syllabus area E. And we've already decided in the previous 3 days of the webinar that one of the question in the section B has to be from the syllabus area E. So one of the question in section B has to be from syllabus area B. And this is exactly the syllabus area right in front of your screen. Syllabus area E consists of audit report, going concern, matters to be communicated to those charged with governance, and audit evidence. So are you all prepared for it? Let's see over the next 3 hours what sort of reinforcement and what sort of a fine tuning is needed in each of the 4 areas in front of your screen. Let's start first with audit reporting, because I'll spend most of my time here and I'll need very less time on going concern, matters to be communicated to those charged with governance, and the area of audit evidence. Audit reporting, probably I'll spend a bigger chunk of my time today on it, even though it's an easy syllabus area and an opportunity to score and an opportunity to maximize marks, because in every exam setting, you will get a question on audit reporting, either for less marks or more marks, because there might be a full question on audit report, or there might be a part of a question on audit report, and the rest of the question is on evidence or something like going concern, and there is a part relating to the audit report. Irrespective of that, let's see what we need to prepare ourselves for. Number 1, requirement plays a crucial part. I will be going over the requirements of the reporting questions, some of them, just to guide you what exactly the reporting question asks you, and are you prepared for it? Are you able to understand the requirement of a reporting question? Because that's extremely important, number 1. Number 2, knowledge and clarity about opinions and paragraphs in the audit report is a must. Student literally make a mess of a reporting answer because they really confuse themselves between opinions and paragraphs, between material and immaterial, between CAM and emphasis of a matter paragraph, between a qualified opinion and an unqualified opinion, because you're not taking control of the rules and regulations. If you are clear with the rules and regulations, you will not do a mess in a reporting answer. And to me, reporting is the scoring opportunity in the AAA paper, where if you have logics and you are very clear with the knowledge, you can score 100% marks even. Let's see, can we do that this time in the June 22 exams? Let's start. Let's commence with audit reporting reinforcement. There is a recommended article. The hyperlink of the article is given here. And again, when I share the resources of the day 4 with you on my Google Drive, the article will be there in the PDF form. So you can just open it up and start reading it. This is a wonderful article written by the examining team, which explore the misunderstandings the student have with regards to opinions and paragraphs. And examiner has criticized very well the students about the wrongdoings in a reporting question. So it's a very, very insightful article of the examining team, where the examining team guides students about the do's and don'ts in a reporting question. This is basically the exam technique article part 5, which is on audit reporting. And a couple of times in my previous webinars, I have recommended this webinar to students to read it. Recommended past papers. The September-December 21 question number 3B, even we were doing that on the day 3 of this webinar. The March 20 question number 2B, the March-June 19 question number 2A, and the December 17 question number 5. I will be sharing all of them in the day 4 folder on my Google Drive, so nothing to worry about. But these are recommendable past paper, which will give you every flavor of a reporting question. So these are 4 recommendable questions which I believe you should do in the last few days before your June 22 exams. And if you can do more than this, wonderful. So this is the recommendable articles and the past papers when you're preparing yourself for audit reporting. Now let's move on and let's see one by one the clarity you need on a reporting area. Okay, let me take on my Word file and we'll stretch our discussion. I hope you can all see in front of your screen the day 4 Word file. Okay, let's start first. The agenda, reinforcement of core areas, part 1. And the first part of the reinforcement we are doing is on audit reporting. So let's start the reinforcement. And we are looking at the very first part, which is audit report. Okay, now in terms of audit report, knowing that this will be a question in the section B, one of the questions, you need to prepare it well, and you need to be very sure what exactly a reporting question asks you. Now, first of all, if you just have a quick look at the requirements of a reporting question, they are not very difficult. Either one of the requirement in a reporting question, which has come so many times in the past paper, ask you to critically appraise the draft audit report. And you must have seen this requirement so many times in the past papers. I hope you agree with me, right? This is one of the requirements. The maximum number of marks I have seen with a critical appraisal is 10 marks. So examiner never gives you more than 10 marks on a critical appraisal. So it might not be a full 25 marks question. It will be a part of a 25 marks question. Critically appraise the draft audit report. But what exactly the student do wrong with a question like such will come down to it and the marking scheme of it. The next is a very typical question where the examiner asks you, explain the matters which should be discussed with management in relation to each of the uncorrected misstatement We even saw that on the day 3, September, December 21, question number 3B. Explain the matters which should be discussed with management in relation to each of the uncorrected misstatement, and assuming that the management does not adjust the misstatement. Explain the impact of each on the audit opinion. Explain the impact of each on the audit opinion. Now that's another typical question, right, which comes in the past paper. You are given more than one misstatements. You need to evaluate each of the misstatements. You need to discuss the matters with management in relation to each of the misstatement. And if the management doesn't adjust the misstatement, explain the impact of each misstatement on the audit opinion. So examiner is focusing on each, right? So each on the audit opinion. Then there is a question in audit report which asks you, explain the matters which you should discuss with management in relation to the uncorrected misstatement, comma. Explain the matters which you should discuss with management in relation to the uncorrected misstatements, recommending any further actions necessary, and explain the impact on the audit opinion and on the audit report. This is another question where the examiner is asking you to recommend any further actions along with the impact on the opinion and the audit report. Now, what you need to understand is, before I give you the last requirement and we move on to the understanding and clarity, examiner, when asking you a question on reporting, just give me 1 minute if I can confirm that I'm not missing on the question type on okay, just give me 1 minute. I hope you can see the support file in front of your screen, right? Yes, there is a difference between type 2 and type 3 on your screen. I'm just explaining that. Just give me 1 minute. And I hope you can see this one as well, right? This is another question on your screen in front now, which I need to explain. And this is interesting one. Now look at the types of questions which have come on your screen now. Now we just need to understand each one of them quickly and see what sort of mistakes we do. Leave aside the critical appraisal for the time being, because that's an easiest one. We'll just spend 10 minutes on that and exit. But look at the other types, apart from the critical appraisal of the report. Look at the types coming here, all these types here. Even though they have similarities, but you need to read them very well. There is a slight difference in each, and that is what you need to pick up. So let's go one by one. Now, first of all, whenever the examiner asks you, explain the matters which you should discuss with management, right, in relation to the uncorrected misstatement. Now that's a pretty simple structure of the answer. So whenever the examiner asks you explain the matters which you should discuss in relation to each of the uncorrected misstatements, the matters you are explaining are what? The first matter you are explaining is the materiality. We even discussed that yesterday on day 3, so I'll not be spending much time on it. You will be discussing the accounting treatment. You will be telling what's wrong in the accounting treatment. Then the further matter you will be discussing with the management is the under and overstatement in the financial statement. So you will be telling management that because the accounting treatment is wrong, so currently what is understated and what is overstated in the financial statement. So you will be discussing with the management the impact on the financial statement. Then obviously you will be discussing with the management the need to rectify it, discuss the need to rectify. So you will ask management to rectify it, discuss the need to rectify. And obviously, if the management is not rectifying, that's another part of a question. Assuming that the management does not adjust the misstatement, what's the impact on the opinion? So first of all, you are discussing the matters with the management. You are telling management that it is material. You're telling management that this is the wrong accounting treatment. Then you're telling management because of the wrong accounting treatment, this is understated and that is overstated, and kindly rectify the same. But then the question says, assuming that the management does not adjust the misstatement, what's the impact on the opinion? So you go to the next paragraph and then you say, okay, assuming that the management does not adjust the misstatement, which I have discussed with them above, does not adjust the misstatement, explain the impact on the audit opinion. Now you will say, okay, because the management is not adjusting the misstatement, what's the impact on the opinion? So you will conclude whether the misstatement is material or material and pervasive, which you must have done above. So you're just concluding it again. You're not stretching your answer. You're simply reinforcing that, as already discussed above, the misstatement is material, or as already discussed above, the misstatement is material and pervasive. So you conclude on the misstatement. Then you say, because it's material or because it's material misstatement, so you judge the right opinion. You judge the right opinion, either qualified or adverse, or if it is immaterial, then even the unqualified opinion. It's quite possible that the misstatement in isolation is immaterial, because you need to comment on each, right? So it's quite possible one of the misstatement is immaterial, because we are not doing the aggregation, right? We are taking each misstatement in isolation. So in isolation, one of the misstatement can be immaterial and leading down to an unqualified opinion. So conclude whether the misstatement is immaterial / material or material and pervasive, and judge the right opinion. Either, let's bring unqualified first, rather either unqualified or qualified or adverse. That's how you have to go with. So that's the structure of the answer, right? Explain the matters for each of the uncorrected misstatements, and assuming that the management does not adjust the misstatement, explain the impact on the opinion. I hope you're clear with this, right? Now let's bring the twist to the answer. Are you all clear with the first one? Explain the matters and explain the impact on the opinion. Can you move on to the next one? Okay, let's move on to the next one. Now, try to bring a twist to the situation. Now, suppose the examiner says, assuming that the management does not adjust the misstatement. Same line. Now bring a twist here. Control C, Control V. Assuming that the management does not adjust the misstatement, comma, explain the impact on the opinion, and look at this word here, and the audit report. How many times you've seen in the prior past paper that either the examiner stop at audit opinion, explain the impact on audit opinion, full stop. And how many times have you seen examiner saying, explain the impact on opinion and the audit report? I remember the December 14 paper, the December 14 question number 5. Examiner said opinion and the audit report. Now, definitely you will repeat the same answer as above, right over here, Control C, explain the impact on the opinion, So your answer will remain the same, that you first conclude whether the misstatement is immaterial, material, or material and pervasive. Then you conclude on the right opinion. Impact on opinion. But what extra will you add? And the audit report. Once you tell which opinion the auditor will issue, you will conclude that because of the unqualified opinion, the audit report will be unmodified. So there are two types of audit reports, right? Modified reports and unmodified reports. So for example, you say that because the opinion will be unqualified, therefore the audit report will be unmodified, right? Or for example, you say that because the opinion is qualified, or the opinion is adverse, therefore the audit report will be modified. So examiner is saying, and the audit report. What is the impact on the opinion? The impact on the opinion is unqualified. The impact on the opinion is qualified, adverse. But what is the impact on the report? Because of the unqualified opinion, the report will become unmodified. And because of the qualified opinion and because of the adverse opinion, the report will become modified. So I hope you understand the importance of this word and. This and is very important, right? And then after the and, the examiner is saying audit report. So it's not just the opinion, it's also the report. So try to do justice with the requirement. Are you all clear? So can you see the addition in the red, all of you? Can you see the addition in the red, all of you? Yes, we'll come to that later, right? We'll come to that later. The question is, sir, can an unqualified opinion and a modified report be together? That's a different story. We'll come to those complexities later. But first, try to understand what is the examiner asking. Impact on opinion and the audit report, right? So you're just concerned about giving the right opinion to the examiner, and you're just concerned about telling examiner that because of this opinion, what will be the type of report? Are you all clear with the question first? Tell me. Okay, moving on. Now, think logically. Have you ever thought about that in exam paper? If the question says, if the question asks you, assuming that the management does not adjust the misstatement, explain the impact on the opinion. And a certain student, when writing the answer in the exam paper, says, because the management has not adjusted the misstatement, this will give rise to an emphasis of a meta paragraph. Or a student says, will give rise to another meta paragraph. Or another student says, or this meta will be reflected in the key audit meta, etc. Now try to understand that what are you doing wrong? First of all, we are speaking of a misstatement, number one, right? And a misstatement never results in a paragraph. If there is a misstatement, it will only impact the opinion. If a misstatement is immaterial, it will lead down to an unqualified opinion. If a misstatement is material, it will lead down to a qualified opinion. Or if a misstatement is material and pervasive, it will lead down to an adverse opinion. A misstatement can never result in a paragraph. If the management has not disclosed something, that is a misstatement. If the management has not given a disclosure, you will either issue a qualified opinion or an adverse opinion, depending upon how significant the disclosure is. But because the management has not given a disclosure, you say, okay, let's add an emphasis of a matter paragraph. Or the management has not given a disclosure, let's add a key audit meta. Management has not given a disclosure, let's add another meta paragraph. For a misstatement, whether that misstatement is an accounting error or a misstatement is no disclosure, lack of disclosure, a misstatement can never result in a paragraph. I hope you're all clear with this, right? Are you all clear with this? So misstatement. So if any student, even looking at the word misstatement in the exam, conclude a CAM, this is something worst you have done in the exam paper. If there is a word misstatement and you've issued an emphasis of a matter paragraph, you've done the worst in exam paper. Right? So please ensure that even if you miss something out, you watch the recording. Because misstatement, a misstatement means it will impact the opinion. A misstatement means an accounting issue. A misstatement means no disclosure, right? So if there is no disclosure, can you issue a CAM? If there is no disclosure, can you issue an emphasis of a matter paragraph? If there is no disclosure, can you issue another meta paragraph? No, if there is no disclosure, this is a misstatement. And you will either think about issuing a qualified opinion or an adverse opinion. Or if the management has not recognized an expense, you say, oh, management has not recognized an expense. Let's put this in a key audit matter. How? If the management has not recognized an expense, this is a misstatement, which must have understated something and overstated something. So you need to issue either a qualified opinion or an adverse opinion. I hope you're clear with that. So first thing is that a misstatement. When you think about when you look at the word misstatement means opinion, right? So this is absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. This one. Absolutely wrong. Now, what you need to think about, first of all, when you look at this word misstatement is equal to impact on opinion. If the misstatement is equal to immaterial is equal to what? Misstatement is equal to immaterial is equal to unqualified opinion is equal to an unmodified report. And if you say a misstatement is equal to material is equal to a qualified opinion is equal to a modified report. And then last, if you say a misstatement is equal to material and pervasive is equal to adverse opinion is equal to a modified report. I hope you are getting my point here. So that is what you need to think about maximum in a misstatement scenario in exam paper. So 1, 2, 3, this is what a misstatement is in exam. There is no fourth situation of a misstatement in exam paper. There is no fourth situation of a misstatement in exam paper. These are the only 3 situations, right? You have an exam 1, 2, 3. I hope you're clear with it. 1, 2, and 3. Are you clear? There's no fourth. Then the more important thing, where the student, I really don't understand what happens to the student in exam paper. Even examiner is so clear, you make things unclear. First of all, the examiner is saying, assuming that the management does not adjust a misstatement. So misstatement can either result in the first situation, or misstatement can result either in the second situation, or the misstatement can either result in the third situation. And then the examiner is saying impact on audit opinion. When the examiner is saying impact on audit opinion, just give me 1 second. Okay, if the examiner is saying impact on opinion, right? And in your answer, you say key audit matter. In your answer, you say emphasis of a matter. Examiner is saying what is the impact on the opinion. Opinion is something different. Paragraph is something different. Instead of telling examiner what is the impact on opinion, you are telling examiner material uncertainty relating to a going concern. Is material uncertainty relating to a going concern an opinion? Is key audit matter an opinion? Is other matter paragraph an opinion? Is emphasis of a matter paragraph an opinion? Tell me, are they opinions? Are they opinions or are they just a paragraph? So if the examiner is saying opinion, then what is the boundary of opinion? What is the boundary of opinion? What is the boundary of opinion? How many opinions are there? Maximum. How many opinions are there? Right? So you need to think about opinions. There are 4 types of opinions, right? You're missing out the disclaimer of opinion, all of you. Qualified opinion, unqualified opinion, adverse opinion, and disclaimer of opinion. So when the examiner says impact on opinion, listen to me very carefully. When the examiner says impact on opinion, just if the examiner says impact on opinion and a student write that the impact will be MURGC, or the student write that the impact will be EOMP, or the student write the impact will be key audit meta, etc. What to do? Look at the reaction of your assessor. Look at the word opinion. Look at the word opinion, and you're saying a student write that the impact will be an MURGC, and you are so happy coming out of the examination hall and saying, oh, I'll pass my AAA paper. How can you pass your AAA paper? When the examiner is asking for an opinion, you are happily telling examiner there will be an emphasis of a meta paragraph. Have you read the requirement well? So a student write that the impact will be MURGC, impact will be emphasis of a meta paragraph, impact will be CAM. Have you done justice to the requirement impact on audit opinion? So this is absolutely wrong. I hope you're getting my point. You cannot be happy with this answer, right? You cannot be happy with this answer and say, oh, I'll pass my AAA paper. You will not pass your AAA paper. But yes, you can be happy with your answer if you write this in the exam paper. When the examiner is saying opinion, and you think, okay, examiner is asking for an opinion. So how many types of opinions are there? You say, okay, opinions, I need to think within the 4 opinions to write, to give a right judgment. to give a right judgment. I need to think within the 4 opinions to give the right judgment. Either unqualified, you need either unqualified, either qualified, either adverse, or disclaimer. Now, go one step ahead. When I say a misstatement versus type of opinion, if there is a misstatement and if the examiner is saying, assuming that the management does not adjust a misstatement, then how many types of opinions will be there with a misstatement? 4 or 3? If the management says, if the examiner says, assuming that the management does not adjust the misstatements, how many types of opinions will be there with a misstatement? Overall, there are 4 opinions, right? Overall, there are 4 opinions. But with a misstatement, how many types of opinions will be there? A misstatement versus the types of opinion. Look at this situation I wrote above. Control C and Control V. Misstatement versus no disclaimer, right? But if we are talking about a misstatement, right? So misstatement can either have A, B, C on your screen. But if we say auditor is unable to obtain evidence, auditor is unable to obtain evidence, which is basically known as a scope limitation. And we know there is an impact of this on the audit report. So you are reading a situation in exam and you believe that the auditor is unable to obtain evidence. That is a scope limitation. Then what is the impact on opinion? What is the impact on opinion? If the unable to obtain evidence is material, and if the unable to obtain evidence is material and pervasive, if it is material, unable to obtain evidence, the area in which the evidence was not gathered is material, is equal to a qualified opinion. But the area where the evidence was not gathered was material and pervasive, then it will lead down to a disclaimer of opinion. And the area where the evidence was not gathered was immaterial, then it will lead down to a unqualified opinion. So I hope you're clear with the 3 situations again for unable to obtain evidence. Are you clear? So when the examiner says a misstatement, will you think about a disclaimer? How many times the student right auditor will issue a disclaimer of opinion when the examiner is saying a misstatement? Can there be a disclaimer for a misstatement? Tell me. Can there be a disclaimer for a misstatement? You are confusing a misstatement with an auditor is unable to obtain evidence. Yes, if the auditor is unable to obtain evidence, then that will lead down to a disclaimer provided it is material and pervasive. But misstatement is something different. Auditor is unable to obtain evidence is something different. I hope you're getting my point here, everyone. So when the examiner says a misstatement, are we thinking about unable to obtain evidence? Are you clear? Waiting for your answers. Are you clear between 3 and 4, all of you? On your screen, there is 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you clear with that? 1, 2, 3, 4. See, this is what is wrong in a reporting question, making mess. When the examiner is saying opinion, you are telling examiner emphasis of a meta paragraph. When the examiner is saying a misstatement, you are telling examiner a disclaimer of opinion. This is making mess of a reporting question. In a reporting question, there are rules which has to be followed. If it is a misstatement, then there cannot be a disclaimer of opinion. If it is a misstatement, then it cannot be a key audit matter. then it cannot be an MURGC. It cannot be other meta paragraph, because a misstatement results in an opinion. If the examiner is saying opinion, then you have to tell examiner the opinion. You cannot tell examiner, okay, I'll leave the opinion and I'll tell examiner the paragraph because I'm such a clever student. You cannot show your cleverness to the examiner, right? That, okay, leave aside the opinions, I'll tell you the paragraphs. Are you all clear? Are you all sound? What does impact on opinion means? So when the examiner asks you impact on opinion, will you think about paragraphs? Tell me, all of you. If the examiner asks you impact on opinion, will you think about a paragraph? No. If the examiner asks you opinions, how many opinions you will be thinking? Broadly, 4. But if the examiner says assuming that the misstatement is not adjusted, what is the impact on the opinion? Then how many opinions you will be thinking? 3. Wonderful. Good. Very good. Excellent. Okay. Now move ahead. And think realistically. I need to give you one critical understanding here. Look at this question here. And I hope I get a good answer now, because I've explained you so much here. Look at this question in front of your screen now. Look at this question. Explain the matters. Now, you all know what matters are, right? Which should be discussed with management in relation to each of the uncorrected misstatement, right? Are you clear with the answer? Have I given you the structure of the answer? What matters you will be discussing with management in relation to each of the uncorrected misstatement? Have we covered this on day 3 and today even? So are you clear with matters? Are you clear with what you need to discuss with management in relation to each of the uncorrected misstatements, right? Right? So you know the breakdown: materiality, accounting treatment, under and over statements, discussing with management the need to rectify it, etc. Right? Every discussion gives you 1 mark. In the whole reporting question, the marking scheme is 1, right? Now look at the situation. Matters that should be discussed with management in relation to each of the uncorrected misstatement. Look at this word each here. Each. Look at the second part of the question. And after the and, look at the second part of the question. Assuming that the management does not adjust the misstatements. Misstatements means all of them. Look at the plural. Can you see the plural here? In exam, it's difficult identifying it's a singular and a plural, considering the amount of stress you are in. How would you read in the exam it's a singular or a plural? I hope you can read misstatements. Assuming that the management does not adjust the misstatements, comma, justify an appropriate opinion. Examiner is not saying for each. Examiner is saying justify and. What does and means? Aggregate? Does and means aggregate, all of you? Does and mean single? Justify an appropriate opinion. So does an examiner wants an opinion for each misstatement, or does an examiner want an opinion for the aggregate misstatement? Tell me. Tell me, waiting for your answers. Does an examiner want an opinion for each misstatement or aggregate misstatements? Aggregate. So reading the English is very important. But with the amount of stress you all are in exam paper, what you do with this? Yes, if the examiner wants an impact on each, then you have to give it on each, right? Right? But examiner over here is saying each in the first part. Matters you should discuss with management for each. So when you're discussing matters, you're discussing matters for each, right? But when you have to give an opinion, are you giving an individual opinion for each? No. You're giving an opinion. An opinion means aggregate. An opinion. An opinion. So are we thinking about key audit methods? Are we thinking about emphasis of a meta paragraph? Are we thinking about other meta paragraph? An opinion, right? An opinion about what? Misstatements. So misstatements and opinions. How many opinions are we thinking in the exam paper? 3 or 4? How many? 3. Either the misstatement will be immaterial, either the misstatement will be material or material and pervasive. So you have to judge in the exam context, right? And you need to justify an opinion. Okay, so what will you do first of all? In the step number 1, sorry, just 1 minute. In the step 1, you will conclude whether the misstatements are in total or in aggregate immaterial or material and pervasive. So in the first step, you will tell examiner that the aggregate of the misstatements, are they immaterial, material or material and pervasive? Step 1. Then in the step 2, once you have concluded, is it material, is it immaterial, is it material and pervasive, then in the step number 2, you will conclude on the right opinion, which will either be what? Which will either be what? Which will either be unqualified if it is immaterial in total. It will either be qualified if it is material in total, or adverse if it is material and pervasive, right? So you need to judge the right opinion. So justify an opinion. So first of all, you will do the aggregation of the misstatements, right? You will do the aggregation of the misstatement, number 1. And on the basis of the aggregation, you will find the materiality on the calculator. And then you conclude, is it material, immaterial, or pervasive? And then you conclude, is it unqualified, qualified, or adverse? Now can you see after the opinion, the examiner is asking you, and the impact on the report? So because of the opinion, what will be the impact on the report? So if you issue an unqualified opinion, what will be the impact of an unqualified opinion on the report? If you issue a qualified opinion, what will be the impact of a qualified opinion on the report? Or if you issue an adverse opinion, what will be the impact of the adverse opinion on the report? So in the step number 3, you will tell examiner that due to an unqualified opinion, the auditor will issue a unmodified report because there will be no impact on the report. Or due to a qualified opinion or adverse opinion, auditor will issue a modified report. So first of all, the examiner is asking you an opinion and impact on report. So because of the opinion, what will be the impact on the report? Are they connected? Are they connected together? Because of the opinion, what will be the impact on the report? Now tell me, do you read reporting questions that thoroughly? Do you read reporting questions with a comma and? Do you read a reporting question with an appropriate opinion? Do you read reporting questions that skeptically? Tell me. Have you got some mind openings here in the last 1 hour? Are you clear, all of you? Right? 100% clear? Crystal clear? So will you read the reporting question well? Now, are you clear with opinion? Are you clear with impact on report? Are you clear with each? Are you clear aggregate? Are you sound with it? And the marking scheme for a reporting question, whatever the question is asking for, remains 1 mark per valid point you write. Now, just one last thing. When you look at a question on your screen currently, in the second part of the question, the examiner is saying, assuming that the management does not adjust the misstatements, justify an opinion and the impact on report. So in the second part, you're giving an aggregate opinion, right? But if a student wants to discuss with management the individual opinions, can you do that in the first part when you're discussing the matters? Explain the matters in relation to each, because in the second part, you have to give an aggregate opinion. So can you write the individual opinions in the first part? Tell me. Can you write the individual opinions in the first part because you have to give the aggregate opinion in the second part? Right? Clear, all of you? Okay, just one last thing, quick analysis, moving out of this context now. We need to move down to the going concern as well. And we need to get clarity on CAM, emphasis, and other things as well, right? So just one last thing. Listen to this very carefully. We got this type 1 and we got this type 2, right? If you just take a look at this question again and just twist it up. So I need a good answers from all of you now. Type 1 and type 2. Just look how I twist it in exam context, right? Okay, type 1. Explain the matters which should be discussed in management in relation to each of the uncorrected misstatement, and assuming that the management does not adjust the misstatement, justify an appropriate audit opinion for each of the misstatement. And just let's remove this from here. Okay, and in the second question, it is the same. Now look at this question and tell me how things will change. When the first part is answered, explain the matters which should be discussed with management in relation to each of the uncorrected misstatement. Then what each I will be discussing here? I will be discussing in each I will be discussing the materiality. I will be discussing the accounting treatment, and I will be discussing the under and over statement, right? Maximum, or I will be discussing with the management the need to rectify. Maximum, right? 4 marks. You need to see the marking scheme as well, right? Impact on the financial statement, right? Impact on the financial statement. Okay, maximum. Each of the uncorrected misstatement. So for each of the uncorrected misstatement, I discuss 4. But you need to look at the number of marks. If the number of marks are like 3, then you only have to discuss 3 out of 4. Assuming that the management does not adjust the misstatement, justify an opinion for each. Can you see this word each? So I need to give an opinion for each. So misstatement 1, what will be the opinion? So not aggregate, right? Not aggregate. Misstatement 2, what will be the opinion? Misstatement 3, because there are 3 misstatements, right, in the December 14 paper, what will be the opinion? If the examiner is saying each, then for each, I will tell what will be the opinion, right? No aggregations, right? If you're doing aggregations, that's a big mistake. When the examiner says each, never do aggregation. So first you discuss the matter for each. So for example, the misstatement 1 and matters to be discussed, right? So for the misstatement 1, you discuss the following matters, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then for the misstatement 1, you tell what will be the opinion, right? In the same way, you go to the misstatement number 2. Misstatement 2, matters to be discussed. Misstatement 2, matters to be discussed. Misstatement 2, matters to be discussed, and you copy the same answer under. Misstatement 2, matters to be discussed, and you copy the same answer down. So that's how things would look like in exam context. I hope you're clear with it. So misstatement 1, misstatement 2, then you get down with assuming that the management does not adjust the misstatement. You tell, okay, for the first misstatement, this will be the opinion. For the second misstatement, this will be the opinion. Are you clear? Because in both cases, the examiner were using the word each. In the first requirement, each. In the second requirement, each. I hope you're clear with it, all of you. Okay, now look at the second situation carefully, and I need answers from your side now. Look at the type 2. In the type 2, examiner is using the word each in the first situation, but in the second situation, examiner is saying justify an opinion, not saying each, not saying each. So that means we need to work on the aggregate in the second part. Now, how will that impact your answer? You will again say misstatement 1, matters to consider. Now see how your matters will change. Your first matter for misstatement will be materiality. Your second matter will be accounting treatment. Your third matter will be under and overstatement. And then, because you have to give the aggregate opinion in the second part, you will bring the individual opinion in the first part, matters to be discussed with management, and the individual opinion, for individual opinion. What will be the individual opinion? You bring that in the first part of the answer, because in the second part, you don't have an opportunity to give an individual opinion. In the second part, you only have an opportunity to give an aggregate opinion. So can you find a difference between the matters to be discussed with management? So when you have to give an aggregate opinion in the second part, you can discuss the individual opinions with management in the first part. Are you clear? All of you? Please, I'm waiting for your answers. Are you all clear with this? Thank you so much. Just let me check your chat box in 1 minute. You can also write the need to rectify after under and over statement. Depends upon the number of marks. Need to rectify. You can write that. But for example, there are only 3 marks. Then you have to choose any 3 out of the 5. Because currently, if you write all 5, you get 5 marks per misstatement. For example, every misstatement has 3 marks. Then you have to choose the 3 you will write. So in that case, need to rectify can be omitted. I hope you're getting my point here. Matter number 1, misstatement number 1 and misstatement number 2. Then assuming that the management does not adjust the misstatement, then you go to the aggregate, right? So you will simply do the aggregate total, find the materiality, and conclude on the right opinion and the impact on audit report. Just the way I taught you above, right? Are you clear with this? So can we discuss an individual opinion with the management in relation to each of an uncorrected misstatement if in the second part, examiner is not asking for each? But if the examiner is asking for each in the second part, then you will not discuss the individual opinions with the management because you have an opportunity to discuss the individual in the second part. Are you clear with it, all of you? Please give me your answers. Are you all clear? So a slight change in the way the question is asked for can impact on the way you write the answer, right? So I hope you read the question very carefully. Is it each? Is it aggregate? Is it opinion? Is it report? Is it a misstatement? I hope you will read all these terminologies very, very carefully, right? Okay, one last thing, and moving out of the requirements of a reporting question. Okay, critically appraise the report. I'm just coming to that. Okay, now have we done things? Explain the matters. I hope you're all clear with matters, which should be discussed with management. We have done that. Each, we have done that. Explain the matters. Again, we have done matters, which you should discuss with management. We've done that in relation to each of the uncorrected misstatements. Okay, the only thing remaining, I guess, is now recommending further actions. If a question asks you recommending further actions, what will you do in a reporting question before we take on a critical appraisal, and then marking scheme and wrapping up reporting? Then I'll give you a break, and post break, we'll start looking at going concern and other paragraphs like CAM, emphasis, other matter, and OIP. If we fail to complete the agenda of the day 4 today, the agenda will be carried forward to day 5, because we have the agenda of day 5 is very minor. So I will accumulate the day 4 leftover with the day 5 and will make the day 5 of the webinar, right? So don't worry. There are 4 things to be discussed. So if we discuss like 2 or 3 and 1 is left, we'll take it to the next day, day 5. But I hope you're getting the clarity on things we are discussing so far, right? Okay, one last thing before we take on the critical appraisal and then get for the break. Listen to this very carefully. Look at this requirement of a question now in front of your screen. No, we will not be doing questions because, again, if you are my regular students, the questions are done in my regular course, or if you are a self-study student, you must have seen my previous webinars for the questions and answers. I've done so many of such questions in my previous webinar, December, September, June. I'm just trying to reinforce the requirements. I'm just trying to reinforce how you read a requirement. Once you know the requirement, I hope looking into the case study and connecting the case study with the requirements becomes pretty easier. I hope you all agree with me. Okay, look at this part. Explain the matters which should be discussed with management in relation to each of the uncorrected misstatement. I hope you have sound with the requirement and you know what is to be done till comma. Is everyone clear till comma? So till comma, what you need to do, I hope you're clear with it. After the comma, recommending any further actions necessary and explain the impact on the opinion. Now you know what is the impact on the opinion. No CAM, no emphasis, no MURGC. And because of the opinion, what will be the impact on the report? Will it be a modified report or an unmodified report? I hope you are clear with this part of the answer as well. The only thing which needs correction is the action part. Further actions. Let's understand the further actions with clarity. Listen to me. In our reporting question, if the examiner asks for further actions necessary, what a student should do? Question mark. Now listen. What a student should do. Because in a reporting question, there will be a misstatement and the management will be reluctant. Management will be reluctant to adjust it. That's a typical story. That's a typical story of a reporting question. So because in a reporting question, there will be a misstatement, right? And the management will be reluctant to adjust it. So after you have discussed the matters like materiality, comma, accounting treatment, and the under or over statement, that is the impact on financial statement, you will now write actions to be taken under a separate heading. Actions are written like bullets, just like procedures or evidence in AAA paper. So there are lots of things in the AAA paper, right, which you write in bullets, just like procedures, evidence, and actions. Now, if the question is asking for actions and matters to be discussed, now when you're making the list of the matters, you will only keep the matters to 3: materiality, treatment, and under and overstatement. Because discussing with the management to rectify is an action. So you will bifurcate that and you will bring it under actions. Now look at this example. For example, you will first write a heading, matters, then you will write a heading, actions, then you will write a heading, impact on opinion / report. So you will answer the question in 3 headings. In the heading of the matters, definitely you will be writing the 3 matters. Number 1, one minute. Under the heading of the matters, you will be writing the 3 matters. First, the materiality, then the treatment, and then the impact on financial statements, right? Under and over. Completing that, you will not say discuss with management, because that's in this question, that will basically become an action. But if the actions are not asked for, then you can write discuss with management in matters, right? But because the question is asking for action, so you will go down under the action and you say, okay, it's a misstatement, right? And we know management is reluctant to adjust it, right? Is that story clear to all of you? In a reporting question, there will always be a misstatement and the management will be reluctant to adjust it. If you know that story, then what are actions? For example, even though the actions have to come out of the case study, but some of them can be just rote learn and then adapted to the case study. So the first action would be discuss with management the need to adjust the financial statements, in order to present a true and fair view to shareholders. So you will ask management, because it's a misstatement and it's a material misstatement. So you will discuss with management the need to adjust these statements, financial statements, in order to present a true and fair view of the shareholder. You will also discuss with management that if the financial statements are not adjusted, it will lead to an implication. It will lead to an implication for the audit opinion and the audit report. But you will not write what it will be, because you have a separate heading for that, impact on opinion and impact on report. But you're generally telling management that if you fail to adjust the financial statement, it will lead to an implication on the audit opinion and the audit report. You are trying to intimidate the management. You are trying to intimidate the management that if you fail to adjust the misstatement, it will lead down to an implication. They might listen to implication and rectify, but never write the implication, because you have impact on opinion coming later. But generally write implication for opinion, and just like the way I wrote on the screen, right? Discuss with management the need to adjust, and discuss with management the implication for the opinion and the report. Two marks, right? Further, actions. If the management still remain reluctant, to adjust the financial statements after A and B above, adjust the financial statement, request management to issue a representation letter and mentioning their stance for not rectifying the misstatement. So you ask the management, kindly issue me a representation letter, and write in the representation letter that you are refusing to adjust a misstatement. So I can show this to the shareholder and say, see, the management didn't adjust it. So if the management still remain reluctant, request management to issue a representation letter and mention their stance for not rectifying the misstatement in the letter. Full stop. This is required by ISA 580, right? This is what the ISA 580 requires from the auditor. No. You will not comment on materiality on the point number one. When you are writing actions, this is the way you write actions. See, you will never tell which opinion. You will never tell which report. You will never tell the need to adjust the missed financial statements because the matter is material. No, you will not repeat anything which you have written above, or you will not repeat something which you will write below, right? I hope you're getting my answer. Brendan, right? I hope you're getting my answer, right? Okay. So see actions. How many marks am I getting for actions? 3. Discuss A, discuss B, and if the management still remains reluctant, request management to issue a representation letter. Finally, the note number. Note, there could be a specific action in the context of case which is not in the list above, Quite possibly, there is something in the case which could be developed into an action. So there could be a specific action in the context of the case which is not in the list above, right? If you want to make the actions above more specific to case, at least use the name of the company when writing the answer. For example, you say if the management, and you're a clever student, you say, okay, if the Alpha company management, if the XYZ company management, right? You need to refer to the exact name of the company. So at least it sounds like you're giving an answer in context of case. So at least use the name of the company when writing the answer. Is that clear to all of you? Actions, right? Actions are taken to resolve a problem, right? What is the objective of an action? The objective of an action is to resolve a problem. So we discussed with management to resolve it, but the management were reluctant. So finally, we requested a representation letter as a final resort. Are you all clear with actions? And finally, you will lead down to an impact on opinion. So if the management is reluctant, what is the impact on opinion and what is the impact on the report? So you have to judge the opinion. Judge opinion and judge report as guided above in my webinar today. Are you all clear with the structure of the answer? So if you know what the requirement is asking for, and you can break the answer into headings, your answer becomes good, and you are assured you are not skipping something from the answer. So are you all clear? And do you all agree with me that if you know to read the requirement, answer becomes easier? But if you fail to understand the requirement, you don't know what the requirement is asking for, you might be overriding something or overlooking something. So actions is one thing, matters is one thing, and impact on opinion and report is one thing. So one question was asking for 3 things, right? One question was asking for 3 things. Have you ever looked at a reporting question that critically? Tell me. Have you ever looked at a reporting question that critically? Will you start looking at it critically now, all of you? right? Okay, so are you all clear so far, so forth? Okay, what is the confusion in the aggregate opinion part? Can you just put your question so I can bring the clarity to that over the next 1 hour of the session? Whatever confusion you have on the aggregate opinion part, please do ask it. I'm reverting back to my webinar, and I'll take on your question in the next couple of minutes. Okay, the last thing, and we're taking a break, and after that, a next discussion opens up. Another question which comes in reporting is critically appraise the draft audit report. Now, this question is quite favorite, quite repetitive, but this is not a 20-25 marks question. This is hardly a 10 marks question. So something else has to come with it, right? Something else has to come with it. So when the question asks you critical appraisal of the report, this one, critically appraise the report, then what exactly you do in a question like such? In this question, if you've seen past papers, examiner will give you a draft report, right? In the case study, a draft report will be given. You must have seen that, right? Yes or no? The case study will give you a draft report, but that is not the full report, right? The case study will give you a draft report, which is just a section of report. Examiner will not give you the title of the report and the opinion and the basis of opinion, the signature of the auditor. Don't expect examiner is giving you a 10 pages report. Examiner will just give you an extract of the report, which is just a section of the report or extract. I hope you've seen the past papers. Yes or no? So at times it's just a half-page report. At times it's even just one paragraph. So it's upon examiner how lengthy report examiner wants to give you. But currently it's just like half a page extract. Now in that draft report, what you have to do, you need to identify the shortcomings. You need to identify the shortcomings in the draft report. What is wrong in the draft report? You need to identify the shortcomings in the draft report. Identify the shortcoming. Explain why it is a shortcoming. And recommend what should be the right recommend what should be right. Recommend what should be right. So if the management has done a mistake, recommend what should be right. If the management has given a wrong opinion, then tell, okay, this is the right opinion. Or for example, the management has given the basis of opinion first and the opinion after. So you will say, no, it is wrong because the basis of opinion comes after, opinion comes first. So you need to identify the shortcomings. The shortcomings can be in the language of the report. The shortcomings can be in the structure of the report, something given first, something given second. For example, the report, the title of the report says auditor report to the directors of the company. Can the auditor report be to the directors of the company? Right? So will the audit report address to the directors of the company? No. Mistakes, right? Mistakes. You need to find the mistakes. So you need to identify the shortcomings in the draft audit report. And this question has come so many times in the past paper. Now let me share something with you, which is interesting. I'll share this document with you in the Google Drive as well. Can you see this document from the examiner on your screen, right in front of your screen? Can you see this? Critically appraise means consider each piece of information and assess whether it is correct or incorrect. Can you see that on your screen? I'll share this document with you on the Google Drive once I upload the recording. But can you currently see this on your screen? Please confirm me, right? Can you see this wording of the examiner? Critically appraise means consider each piece of information and assess whether it is correct or incorrect. If it is correct, it's fine. But if it is incorrect, you need to justify why it is incorrect, and what should be done to what is the right step to be taken here. Look at this. What is the examiner telling here? Okay, can you read from here with me the requirement? The requirement to critically appraise means you need to consider each piece of information given in the case study and assess whether it is correct or incorrect, describing why it is incorrect, describing why, and how to amend it, describing why and how to amend it as necessary. As it is clearly stated, you are not required to redraft the extract. You're simply telling why it is incorrect and how to amend it. You're not redrafting the report, right? Drafting the report is not part of the AAA syllabus, right? So Control C, and I'm taking it back to my Word file, and I'll share this document with you. This is what the examiner tells us. Examiner approach, examiner guidance. This is what the examiner is telling us. Control V. Critically appraise. Critically appraise means you need to consider each piece of information and assess whether it is correct or incorrect. But obviously in the exam paper, you need to pick the incorrect. But when you pick the incorrect, what you have to do? So in the exam, what you're exactly doing? You pick the incorrect. You pick the incorrect and tell why it is incorrect. You pick the incorrect and tell why it is incorrect. That is 1 mark. And then how to amend it. Then tell how to amend the incorrect part. Incorrect part, 1 mark. So if the management has addressed the audit report to the directors of the company, you will tell that why it is incorrect, and you will justify that the audit reports are addressed to the principal, which is primarily the shareholders of the company. And then you tell how to amend it. You will say that the management should address the report to the shareholders of the company. So 1 mark for telling why it is incorrect and 1 mark for telling how to amend it. This is what a student should do actually in the exam context. Are you clear with it? So student should do this. Student should do this. Are you clear? So you need to get to each piece of information and assess whether it is correct or incorrect. Describing why, that's critical, and how, that's critical. So why it is incorrect and how to amend it. So these are the wordings of the examiner, right? I hope you read them and understand them. Nothing difficult here, nothing challenging here. Is that clear? Critical appraisal, 1 mark per point, 1 mark telling why, 1 mark telling how. So if it is a 10 marks question, in total, you should have 10 points. Now you can have more whys and less hows, but in total, you should have 10 points for a 10 marks answer. Are you clear? All of you? Okay, now just one final thing. And critical appraisal have come many times, right? The questions I've recommended you, right? Please ensure you are solving these questions right in front of your screen, the 4 questions coming here, because it has a critical appraisal. It has every type of question we have discussed today in the webinar. And please ensure you're reading this article of the examiner along with my webinar. And then when you practice the past papers, you will probably reach the right answer. Right? So have you benefited from the session so far? Have you got some fine tunings? Have you got something where you were wrong before the webinar? Have you has this webinar help you overcome some of your misconceptions or misunderstandings? Tell me before we take a break and resume back with the next part of the webinar, day 4. Okay, that's great. And reporting is a messy area, right? The student really make mess of a reporting question because they spoil things up. Yes, can you just put this question to me on WhatsApp? Put this question on my personal WhatsApp so I can voice clip for a better understanding. Personal WhatsApp. Thank you. Okay. So we've done the part of reporting. We have done, after the break, I will just be looking at some paragraphs, trying to bring some clarity quickly to the paragraphs, just like 30 minutes, and we'll exit from the paragraphs and try to adventure into going concern. And I think that would mark the end of the day 4. But day 5 tomorrow will then get to the evidence part and the part relating to matters to be communicated to those charged with governance. I'll try my best that we can skim over into like a question or two for practice sake in the session today as well. But that's right after the break. So right after the break, we're looking into the paragraphs, which is critical. And right after the break, we'll also be looking at the area of going concern as well. So these 2 areas gets on the day 4 with some practice of the past papers, but most likely these 2 areas gets to the day 5, the last day tomorrow, and we'll add something more with it tomorrow to make it a more interesting day 5, because that would be the last day for a reinforcement of the core areas, right? So I'll see you back in a break time. It's like currently 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. So we'll just resume by like 2:15, right? 2:15, a 15 minutes break. Is that clear? 1-5. So please back to the classroom in 15 minutes, 1-5. Have a cup of tea, relax, absorb. And after 15 minutes, we'll be having another 1 hour and 15 minutes, which I will be spending on audit report, paragraphs, and going concern. Can you just drop the feedback for the first part of the session today during the break? That will be much helpful for me. And I'll see you back in 15 minutes from now. Okay, welcome back everyone. I hope you all can hear me and you can see my video as well. And alongside you can see the PowerPoint presentation with agenda day 4 on screen. Please confirm that everything is in the orderly manner as we resume the second part of this day 4 right after the break. Okay, can you all hear me? Please confirm that so we can start the proceedings of the second part for day 4 right after the break. Okay, thank you for that confirmation. Let's proceed on. Okay, so welcome back to the webinar to success for advanced audit and assurance, day 4. I am your tutor Kashif Kamran. Right after the break, we were discussing the audit report prior to the break, and that will be in continuation now, and most likely will be going into going concern area as well today. So let's resume back and let's start to discuss something very, very important. Where the student literally make mess in a reporting question is the paragraphs. Now, there are so many paragraphs in the audit report, more than opinions. There is a paragraph known as MURGC. There is a paragraph known as SCAM. I hope you're familiar with the short forms. There's a paragraph known as EOMP, emphasis of a meta paragraph. There is another meta paragraph, and there is another information paragraph. Now, with so many paragraphs, if you look at the opinions, there is an unqualified opinion, qualified, adverse, disclaimer, 4. But look at the number of paragraphs, almost like 5. Now, paragraph is a very essential part of an audit report. But what really goes wrong with students in the exam paper is a point of concern. Can you all see this the Word file in front of your screen as we start to go more into the audit report? Investigating the audit report, paragraphs. Can you all see this on your screen? Please confirm. Okay, great if you can see that. Okay, now the second part of the discussion, next 30 minutes will be utmost crucial to wind up this topic. And please listen carefully. If you have any questions after 30 minutes, concentrate. You might get the answer to your question in the next 30 minutes. So don't be in haste of asking a question. But if I ask something, please do respond quickly. Investigating the audit report, paragraphs. Now, when you look at the audit report, first of all, you need to understand that there is a standard audit report, right? Which is known as an unmodified report. And then there is a modified report. Now, first of all, there is a confusion among students how you judge. Let's take some knowledge. Let's take some knowledge. Okay, now in terms of the knowledge, the very first thing we need to talk about is that what is the literal meaning of the word modified and a modified report. Let's make that first very clear. Just give me 1 second. Okay, just resuming back, really sorry for that. So we were discussing that first of all, you need to bring a clarity to some number of things here. Knowledge, modified report. Now, a lot of time the students have a lot of misconception about what is a modified report, and you don't have a clear knowledge of that. Try to understand that modified means to change. So when we say a modified report, a modified means a report which is changed from the standard report. Modified report, the term modified means to change. Modified means to change, right? If you go to the Google and look at the terminology, what is the meaning of the word modified? Modified means to change. Now, the term modified means to change from the standard report. Now, there is one standard report of the auditor, right? Which is given in the ISA 700. Now, that is the standard report. Now, if you change something in the standard report, you add something, you delete something from the standard report, that becomes a change. Now, listen to me very carefully. When you look at a standard report, right, you look at a standard report of the auditor, which is given in the ISA 700 revised, and you look at a standard report, right? Now, the standard report consists of what? Leave aside the title and leave aside the signature. Look at the standard report. The standard report consists of an unqualified opinion, right? And the standard report contains a basis of opinion. The standard report consists of key audit matters. A standard report consists of other information paragraph, and downside the auditor signature. I'm just looking at the key parts, right? And on the title slide, the title of the audit report, right? This is like a structure, very skeleton. This is a standard report, unqualified opinion. In our opinion, the financial statement gives a true and fair view, and the basis of that opinion that we found nothing in the audit. Basis, key audit matters, other information para, and auditor signature. This is standard report. But if you add something to the standard report, you change something in the standard report, it will become modified. Now, listen to me very carefully. If the opinion is changed from unqualified to either qualified or adverse, or disclaimer, right? If you change the opinion, what is the opinion in the standard report? Unqualified. But if you change the unqualified opinion to qualified or to adverse or to disclaimer, are you changing from the standard report? Tell me. Are you changing from the standard report? And change means modified. Change means modified. So if the opinion is changed from unqualified to either qualified or adverse to or disclaimer, change means modification, right? So the audit report becomes modified. So the audit report becomes modified. So can a change of opinion result in a modified report? Tell me. Can a change of opinion result in a modified report? Can a change of opinion result in a modified report? Question mark. Yes or no? Yes. Number one rule. Now look at the number 2 rule very, very carefully. Next. Yes. Okay. Now, the standard report contain some paragraphs like CAM and other information para. So the standard report contain CAM and other information para, right? So that means they are a static part. They are static part of a standard report. The standard report contains some paragraph like CAM and other information paragraph, but other paragraphs in the audit report, like what? Other paragraphs in the audit report like what? Like MURGC, emphasis of a meta paragraph, and other meta paragraph The standard report contains some paragraphs, right? Like CAM and other information paragraphs. So if you add CAM or if you add other information paragraph, that will not make the report modified because it's already part of a standard report. But if you change something from the standard report, if you add something to the standard report, it becomes modified. But other paragraphs like MURGC, emphasis, and other meta paragraphs are added to the standard report, when added to the standard report when or where needed. When or where needed are added to the standard report when and where needed. Now tell me, if these paras are added to standard report when and where needed, will it result in a modified report? Modified means to change. Remember that. Modified means to change. So if you add a paragraph which is not part of the standard report, will that addition of a paragraph lead to a modified report? Right? So modified means to change from the standard. So the unqualified opinion is part of standard, but if you change the unqualified opinion, it becomes modified. Now, CAM and other information paragraph is part of standard. So CAM and other information paragraph will not make the report modified. But the other paragraphs which are not part of ISA 700, which are not part of the standard report, if you add them, MURGC number 1, emphasis number 2, and other meta paragraph 3. So will the addition of these 3 paragraphs lead to a change in the standard report? Yes. Will the addition of these 3 paragraphs lead to a change in the standard report? And what is the literal meaning of the change in the standard report? A change in the standard report is equal to a modified report. So will it result into a modified report? Yes, because the addition, because if any additional para is inserted in the standard report, the standard report will change, and change is equal to modified. Just take 5 seconds and read this last bullet and tell me, are you clear with it? Read the last bullet, which I've just highlighted on the screen. Read it in 5 or 10 seconds, very, very carefully, and tell me you are 100% clear with it before I proceed further. Okay, thank you, Sanosh, for confirming that. Waiting for the other students. Because I have a big question for all of you, $1 million question. We're just first waiting for your clarities. Okay, great. Now listen to my question. Let's see who gave me the right answer. I cannot give you a price. I'll come to that later, which paragraph is for listed and which paragraph is for not listed. We're just concerned about what's part of the standard report, right? CAM is part of the standard report, right? Irrespective whichever company we are talking about, right? So we are just talking about which paragraphs are part of the standard report and which paragraphs are added, right? Irrespective of listed or non-listed. We're not creating a confusion of that. Next. What result in a modified, I'm not saying what result in a modified opinion. Look at my term very clear. Opinion, modified opinion is a different terminology, and modified report is a different terminology. Agree? Modified opinion is a different terminology. Modified report is a different terminology, right? What result in a modified report? Number 1, what result in the modified report? A modified opinion. A modified opinion, agree? A modified opinion results in a modified report. And how many modified opinions are there? How many modified opinions are there? No, 4. There are 4 modified opinions. Absolutely wrong. 3. Wonderful. So many students giving 3 answer. How many modified opinions are there? Adverse, disclaimer, qualified. 3. How many modified opinions are there? 3. Will that lead to a modified report? So a modified opinion leads to a modified report. Next, what result in a modified report? If any additional para is inserted. If any additional paragraph is inserted, which additional paras will make the report modified? Which? How many? Which additional paragraphs will make the report modified? Which paragraphs will be inserted, which will modify the report? How many of them? Have I given you the count? 5 of them? CAM cannot lead to a modified report, right? CAM is part of the standard report. Other information paragraph is part of the standard report. So if any additional para is inserted, how many additional paras are there which can be inserted if needed? 3, right? MURGC, EOM, and other matter. Very good answer. Which additional paragraphs will make the report modified? MURGC / other matter para / EOMP. Will CAM make the report modified? Will CAM make the report modified? No. Why? Why? Because it's part of the standard report, right? Okay. Will other information paragraph make the report modified? No. Why? Because it's part of the standard report. Will MURGC, other meta paragraph, and emphasis of a meta paragraph make the report modified? Yes, because it's not part of the standard report. So are you clear with the word what is a modified report? So a modified report only results from a modified opinion? No. A modified report also results from an insertion of an additional paragraph. So are there 2 ways to make a report modified? Are there 2 ways to make a report modified? Yes, one is an opinion and one is a paragraph. One is an opinion and one is a paragraph. So can an opinion make the report modified? Agree? Can a paragraph make the report modified? So look at the term modified. Modified means to change from the standard report. If you learn this definition, you can have a relaxing impact. I hope you're already having a relaxing impact if you're understanding what has gone in the last 15 minutes. How many of you are feeling relaxed? Once you take a printout of this Word file shortly, once it gets uploaded, right? So what makes the report modified? $1 million question. An opinion and a paragraph additional. Now clear, move on. So in the exam, if you say this matter will lead down to a CAM and you mistakenly write this matter will lead down to a CAM and the audit report will be modified, is that a wrong statement or a right statement? A wrong statement or a right statement? Wrong. If this matter will lead down to a CAM and the audit report will be unmodified. Right statement, right? So opinion is something different. Paragraph is something different. So if you have an unqualified opinion, in the audit report, but with the unqualified opinion, you have an emphasis of a meta paragraph in the audit report, will that make the report modified or unmodified? You have an unqualified opinion, but an emphasis of a meta paragraph. Modified. Very good. Very good. If you have an unqualified opinion and you have another meta paragraph in the report, modified, right? If you have a qualified opinion and no other paragraph, no other additional paragraph in the report modified. Are you clear? So opinion can also make it modified. A paragraph can also make it modified. And simultaneously, in one audit report, you can have a qualified opinion and another meta paragraph. Simultaneously, in one audit report, you can have a qualified opinion and an emphasis of a meta paragraph. Because opinion is given on something different, paragraph is given on something different. There cannot be overriding. You cannot say one issue give rise to opinion and a paragraph. Never. The matter of a opinion is different. The matter of a paragraph is different. They cannot be overlapping. A same matter results in a qualified opinion and a same matter results in a CAM. Is that true? A same matter results in a qualified opinion and the same matter results in a CAM. Is that true? No. Very good answer. Absolutely no. The matter is of a para is different. The matter of an opinion is different. What is the matter of a modified opinion? What is the matter of a modified opinion? What is the matter of a modified opinion? I've given you the answer right before the break. What is the matter of a modified opinion? Misstatement, right? Misstatement. Misstatement. So if there is a misstatement, for a misstatement, I'll issue a modified opinion, right? But for a misstatement, can I issue another meta paragraph? Can I issue an MURGC? Can I issue UMP? No. Now listen to me very carefully. The matter for a modified opinion and the matter for a paragraph in the audit report, the matter for an opinion and the matter for a paragraph in the audit report are different and not overlapping. That's the big mistake the student do in the exam paper. Now listen to this very, very carefully. Number one, I'm going one by one, right? Number one, MURGC. Number one. Okay, let's make a table. Let's make a table. Insert table. We have how many paragraphs? CAM, MURGC. We have 3 additional paragraphs and 2 static paragraphs, right? So that's total of 5 paragraphs. And we have 1 category of opinion, right? So we have opinions and we have 5 paragraphs. So that's 6, right? Okay. Okay, let's make a table. Okay, I hope you can see it right in front of your screen. Now listen to me very carefully. We have a modified opinion as 1 category, right? We have a paragraph CAM. We have a paragraph EOMP. We have a paragraph which is OMP, other meta paragraph. We have a paragraph other information para. And we have a paragraph known as MURGC, right? All the paragraphs. I've not written them in order. I've just written them, right? So there is no order of these paragraphs currently. It's just like I've dumped them down. Okay, now listen to me very carefully. If there is a misstatement, which is material or material and pervasive, where will it go? Where will it go? Which column? Exactly. It will go to which column? Just give me 1 minute. It will go to Okay. If there is a misstatement, material or material and pervasive, which column will it go to? Modified opinion, right? Here. Clear? Is that word here clear to all of you? That's where it will go in, right? Right? So misstatement, material or material and pervasive, where will it go to? Here. Can it go to CAM? No. Can it go to emphasis? Can it go to other matter? Can it go to other information? Can it go to MURGC? No. Listen to that second carefully. If there is a material uncertainty relating to going concern, which is not disclosed in the notes to the financial statement, where will it go? Which is not disclosed, right? Listen to that very, very carefully. Which is not disclosed. Where will it go? Where will it go? Already some mistakes coming in. That's what I want to see. Which is not disclosed. If something is not disclosed, is it a misstatement or is it not a misstatement? Look at this word not disclosed. Is it a misstatement or is it not a misstatement? It is a misstatement. So if it is a misstatement, will it lead down to a modified opinion? Yes, it will go here. But twist the situation. Twist the situation, right? Just give me 1 minute. Just need to increase the length of these paragraphs so we get space to write more. Okay, now look at the third situation. Control C, Control V. If there is a material uncertainty relating to going concern, which is disclosed in the notes to the financial statement, which is disclosed in the notes. Now is there a misstatement? Now is there a misstatement? Now is there a misstatement? No. So where will it go? Very good answers. Here. It will go here. So a paragraph is added and a paragraph will highlight the note given. So in the MURGC paragraph, you will highlight the note number. You will draw the attention of the shareholder that kindly go and read the note number 10 of the financial statement, because in the note number 10 of the financial statement, there is a material uncertainty. So the management has done the right accounting treatment. So you are adding a paragraph. So why are you adding a paragraph? Because there was not a misstatement, but there was something important. So a disclosure of a going concern, is that something important to the shareholders? Yes. So should you draw attention of the shareholder to something important? Yes. But is there a misstatement? Is there a misstatement in the situation number 3? Right. So just let me do one good thing for you. If I can just insert one more paragraph here, would be of very good benefit to all of you. Unmodified opinion as well, right? Let's add another paragraph. Okay, look at the situation number 3 and tell me that in the situation number 3, you will add a paragraph MURGC, but what will be the opinion? Because the management has done the right accounting treatment. So what will be the impact on opinion? What will be the impact on opinion? Will there be any impact on opinion? No, because the management has done the right accounting treatment. So the disclosure will be highlighted where? The disclosure will be highlighted in the MURGC paragraph, and that will lead down to what? That will lead down to an unmodified opinion. So the opinion will remain unmodified, right? Is that clear? So an unmodified opinion, because the management has made the right disclosure, but will you emphasize the disclosure in MURGC, correct? But when the management has not made a disclosure, you directly take that here to a modified opinion, right? Clear? Next situation. Okay, now let's see who is a clever student. If there, just a minute, I hope you're liking this exercise. If there is a provision, if there is a contingent liability in disclosed in the notes to financial statement, which is $10 million, which is disclosed in the notes to financial statement is $10 million. The contingent liability, right? Disclosed in the notes, perfect, good, very good accounting treatment. If there is a contingent liability disclosed in the notes to financial statement, which is $10 million, full stop. The profit before tax of the company is $35 million. The profit before tax of the company is $35 million, full stop. The contingent liability disclosed, is that correct? Is that incorrect? Is that correct? Is that incorrect? Correct. Disclosed. So where should I take it? Which paragraph? Which column? Which column should I take it? Okay, I should take it to emphasis of a matter paragraph, right? If there is a contingent liability disclosed in the notes to the financial statement, which is $10 million, the profit before tax of the company is $35 million, where should I take it? Is it a disclosure, correct disclosure? Is it a correct disclosure? Yes. Is it a material disclosure? So I should take it to the emphasis of a meta paragraph. Where is it? Here. The 1, 2, 3, 4, the column number 4 here. Right? But if it is a listed company, I will give precedence. I will give precedence to CAM over emphasis. Here, only for a non-listed company. This is from an examination point of view, right? This is a gray area, right? The big 4 firms are working on it. There is there is no yet good clarity on it. But yes, there is a clarity from ISA 701, which says that you should give precedence to CAM over emphasis in a listed company. So if it is a contingent liability disclosed in the notes to the financial statement, you will take it to an emphasis of a matter paragraph for a non-listed company. But if it is a listed company, because it's a contingent liability, a significant one, which can impact the profits of the company, this is right. So you will take it to a key audit matter and you will justify what the auditor has done for the contingent liability. So you will take it to CAM here. If it is a listed company. So you will give precedence to CAM over emphasis. You will give precedence to CAM over emphasis. What do you basically need to tell in CAM? Anyone knows it? What do you basically need to tell in CAM about a contingent liability disclosed in the notes? What are the two attributes of a CAM? What you tell in CAM to the shareholder? Anyone knows it? 14 days away from exam? No. What you tell about a CAM to shareholder? What is the content of CAM? Why the matter was considered as significant and how the matter was addressed. So you tell shareholder why this contingent liability was considered as significant and what audit procedures have you performed during the audit on this contingent liability, how it was addressed during audit. So in CAM, what are you telling? Here, if it is a listed company, I'll write the content of the CAM after completing the table, right? But is everyone clear with the table structure so far? Are you clear with the table structure, all of you? Okay, I'll bring further clarity between a listed and a non-listed company, between CAM and EOMP, because that's like a gray area, right? EOMP and CAM, listed, non-listed, that's an area where I should spend 10 minutes, right? But if it is a non-listed company, you take it straight away to a EOMP. Okay, let's look at a next situation. The same one, Control C, Control V, which is not disclosed. Now what will you do? Which is not disclosed. Same situation, but not disclosed. Okay, you will take it to modified opinion. Very good. You will take it right here in the modified opinion here. Okay, if it was disclosed, look at this last situation where we were adding it as an emphasis or a cam. If I add something to emphasis or a cam, what will be my opinion? Will it be a modified opinion or an unmodified opinion? If I add something to cam or emphasis, what will be the impact on my opinion? My opinion will remain unqualified, right? So if something goes to a paragraph, it doesn't affect my opinion. Is that true? If something goes to a paragraph, it doesn't affect the opinion of the auditor. Is that true? Right? But if something goes to a modified opinion, will that also be reflected in a paragraph? If something goes to a modified opinion column, will that also be reflected in a paragraph? No. Right? If something results in a modified opinion, that matter cannot be repeated in a paragraph. So far, the matter for a paragraph and the matter for the opinion are unique, right? Next matter, change of auditor. There was a change of auditor, and this is the first year you have performed the audit. Where would you take this matter, a change of auditor? Yes. If this is the first year audit and last year audit was done by some other auditor, this is highlighted in the other meta paragraph, right? So you take this meta in other meta paragraph. There was a change in the auditor. This is the first year you have done the audit. This is reflected in the other meta paragraph. So this is additional disclosure. You are telling shareholder, I have not done the last year audit. So if there is any liability, I'm not liable. I'm not liable for the last year audit. So this is an additional paragraph in the audit report where you are telling that I have not done the last year audit. So if there is any liability relating to the last year audit, I'm not liable. I'm only liable for this year. No, change of auditor by rule is another meta paragraph, right? We cannot break the rules. We cannot break the rules, right? Change of auditor is in ISA 706 and CAM is in ISA 701. 701 has its own rule. 706 has its own rule. And emphasis of a meta paragraph has its own rule. So change of auditor by rules is another meta paragraph, right? Something extra, something additional, which you would like to inform to the shareholder. Change of auditor has nothing to do with the financial statement or notes to the financial statement, right? So something which is not affecting the financial statement or something not affecting the notes to the financial statement will never be added in EOMP and CAM. This is something just relating to the auditor liability, right? So something relating to the auditor liability has no connection with financial statement and the notes to the financial statement. So that's why it's taken to the other meta paragraph. Okay, one last situation. We are left with other information paragraph. Any changes required in chairman statement? Any changes required in the chairman statement? Because the chairman statement is inconsistent with the financial statement. There is something written in the chairman statement which is inconsistent with the financial statements. Where will you take this? Just give me 1 second if I can structure things down in a more appropriate manner so we get space to write things down in a more affirmative. Okay, where to take it? Other information, right? If other information, chairman statement is another information. So if any changes is required in the chairman statement, because the chairman statement is inconsistent with the financial statement, a chairman statement is other information, right? It has nothing to do with financial statement. Something is not wrong in the financial statement, right? Something is wrong in the chairman statement. If something is wrong in the financial statement, then you change the opinion. So in the last point, is there something wrong in the financial statement, or is there something wrong in the other information? Tell me. Is there something wrong in the financial statement, or is there something wrong in the other information? So if something is wrong in the other information, where will you take it? To the other information paragraph here. But if something is wrong in the other information, will it impact the opinion of the auditor? If something is wrong in the other information, will it impact the opinion of the auditor? No. Why? Because the auditor opinion has nothing to do with other information. Because the auditor opinion has nothing to do with other information. So what will be the opinion? The opinion will be unmodified. There will be no impact on the opinion. Right? Clear? So now listen to me very carefully, just to make some final corrections to things, and just ensuring that if there is certain gray areas existing among students, that is clearly rectified. You can take the printout of this table once you get it. And secondly, I just want to bring some more clarity to what I have just discussed here. Now, I think if we should all agree and we should all conclude on one thing, that the matter of a modified opinion and the matter of a paragraph is not the same. True or false? The matter of a modified opinion and the matter of a paragraph is not the same. True. Good. So what are we concluding? Conclusion. And listen to this conclusion in the next 30 minutes very, very carefully. Conclusion number one, the matter of a modified opinion and the matter of the para cannot be the same. And this is true, right? Number one, we just saw that. Now, if there is a misstatement, that will be a matter for a modified opinion. But if there is a disclosure made and that disclosure relates to going concern, it will go to MURGC. But if there is a disclosure other than going concern, but that disclosure is very important and it has been given, for a non-listed company, you will take it to emphasis of a matter paragraph, and for a listed company, you take it to CAM. So let's wind this up. If there is a misstatement, it will go to a modified opinion column, provided it's material and pervasive. Agree? True? Is that the right conclusion? Next, if there is a misstatement which is immaterial, it will go to the column 1, and otherwise it will go to the column 2. I hope we can give numbers to the column. Would be more easier if you can take the printout. Let's give column the numbers. Just give me 1 minute. We can just insert one row above, and when you take a printout, would be better. Okay, column number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, right? So 1 is unmodified, 2 is modified. Okay, now listen to me. If there is a misstatement, it will go to the modified opinion column, provided it's material and pervasive, which is the column number 2, correct? If there is a misstatement which is immaterial, it will go to the column number 1, correct? Next, if there is a disclosure, relating to going concern, if there is a disclosure relating to material uncertainties, if there is a disclosure for material uncertainties relating to going concern, if there is a disclosure made, or if there is a disclosure given in the financial statements for the material uncertainties relating to the going concern, it will go to the column. It will go to the column number 7, MURGC. It will go to the column 7, which is MURGC, right? So if a disclosure is made or given, something positive, right, relating to material uncertainties relating to going concern. Listen to this very carefully. If a disclosure is given related to something important other than going concern, other than material uncertainties relating to going concern, if a disclosure is given related to something which is important, is given and important other than material uncertainties relating to going concern, it will go where? It will go where? Given and important, given and material, given and something material, given and material. Where will it go other than going concern? Yes, it will go to the EOMP if it is a non-listed company, and it will go to a CAM if it is a listed company. Agree? Do you agree with this? So EOMP is what? EOMP is column 4, CAM is column 3. Column 4, column 3. Column 4, column 3. I'll just bring clarity to CAM and EOMP in the last 10 minutes of my webinar, but I hope you agree with it so far, so forth. Next, if there is a change of auditor mentioned in a reporting question, if there is a change of auditor mentioned in a reporting question, how will it impact the audit report? How will it impact the audit report? The change of auditor will be mentioned in the other meta para, that is column number what? Other meta paragraph is column number 5. Okay, next. If there is some issue in other information like director report or chairman statement, if there is some issue in the other information like director report or chairman statement, which is inconsistent with the information presented in financial statement, and the director or chairman is reluctant to rectify the statement, comma, where will this inconsistency reflected? Where will you reflect this inconsistency? How will you tell the shareholder that the chairman's statement is wrong? Or how will you tell the shareholder that the director's statement is wrong? Where will this be reflected? There is nothing wrong with the financial statement, right? I hope you're getting my point. There is nothing wrong with the financial statement. The only wrong thing is in the chairman's statement. Now, the chairman's statement or the director statement is the other information, right? So this inconsistency is reflected in the other information para, where the auditor will mention the inconsistency, right? Is it affecting the financial statement? No, it is only affecting the other information, right? That's how you have to deal with. And the other information is in the column number 6. So it will be reflected in the column number 6. Column 6. Okay, one or two last examples, right? The final ones. If the auditor read the other information, listen to this very carefully. If the auditor read the other information, like a chairman statement, and the chairman statement is consistent with the financial statement and there is no inconsistency, how will this be reported, or will this be reported or not? Tell me. Find the difference between the last two bullets. Waiting for your answers. No, this is a matter which relates with other information, right? So it is you cannot link this thing to opinions, right? Yes, very good answer from Brendan, if that is the right name. The other information paragraph, right? Look at this knowledge. The other information para, as per ISA 720, requires auditor to read other information and read other information if the auditor find any inconsistency or not. When you read the other information, right? If the auditor find any inconsistency or not, in both cases, if the auditor find any inconsistency, then the auditor will mention in the other information para that the inconsistency was found and tell what was the inconsistency. So you will tell that the inconsistency was found and what was it, right? Full stop. However, if the auditor does not found any inconsistency after reading the chairman statement, the auditor will tell in the other information para, open inverted commas, there is nothing to report. See, you will still tell shareholder, because your responsibility, you need to read other information. Auditor, read other information. That is your responsibility. So if you found nothing, you will tell shareholder, I found nothing. So shareholder will look at this statement. There is nothing to report. Does this statement, there is nothing to report, fulfill the responsibility of the auditor that you have read the other information? How will the shareholder know you read the other information? So if you tell shareholder there is nothing to report, will that satisfy the shareholder that you read the other information and you found nothing to report? So in both cases, right, whether there is something to report or there is not something to report, You will tell that in the other information paragraph. Is that clear? This is the requirement of ISA 720, right? And only one student, Brendan, has given the right answer. Wonderful. But the rest of the students, are you now clear with the knowledge factor? Are you clear with this knowledge? Right? So there is nothing to report. Does that satisfy me that the auditor has read the other information, or does that satisfy you that the auditor has read the information? Then only he's telling there is nothing to report, right? So is the auditor fulfilling the obligation to read the other information? Yes. So in the exam paper, if you come across a situation like such, look at this. In the exam paper, if you come across the situation in yellow, read this again, read this yellow again. If you come across the situation in yellow in the exam paper, what will you write? You will tell examiner that the auditor will report this in the other information paragraph, mentioning there is nothing to report. Is that clear? So the answer is it will be reported in other info para in column 6, right? Please ensure that you have the right answer to this yellow part. Is that clear to all of you? Okay, one final twist. Okay, just last 10 minutes we have. I'll take the rest of the agenda tomorrow, but I hope the time we spend on reporting today, and once you listen to the recording and take a printout, will bring clarity to your reporting area. One final thing, CAM versus EOMP. And we'll just spend 15 minutes on this, so you are transparent on this subject matter, because this is the most confused subject matter we have among students. I hope you're clear with other meta paragraph and other information paragraphs within the limitation of the webinar. I hope you're clear between a modified report and an unmodified report, the modified opinions. I hope you're clear with EOMP and MURGC, etc. Okay, few of the last things, CAM versus EOMP. Now, why we say, we know that ISA 701, which deals with CAM, is only for a listed company. There is no second thought on it, right? And every student knows that CAM is for a listed company. I think this is a word of mouth among every student, whether a self-study student or a tutor-based student. Every student knows CAM is for a listed company, right? At least you're clear on that. Now, the second thing is, ISA 701 mentioned that CAM should be given precedence over an EOMP in a listed company, where the subject matter of emphasis and CAM is the same. For example, a contingent liability disclosed in the notes. CAM should be given precedence over emphasis in a listed company. That is why we say it's very difficult to find an emphasis in a listed company report. Agree? Look at this statement, and after this statement, react to my statement. It is very difficult to find an emphasis in a listed company report. This is a gray area, right? But from an examination point of view, this is a true statement. It is very difficult to find an emphasis in a listed company report. Are you all agree with me? I'm waiting for your answers. Right? So it's a gray area, but from an examination point of view, you need to be blunt. And the blunt statement is it's very difficult to find an emphasis in a listed company because CAM is to be given precedence over emphasis. Now comes to some situations. For example, if the matter of CAM and the matter of EOMP is the same, if the matter of the CAM and matter of the emphasis is the same, just like the matter relating to contingent liability above, just like the matter relating to the contingent liability above, then CAM will be given precedence over EOMP in a listed company. Now understand something. Let me bring that example copy paste from above. There was a contingent liability disclosed, Control C, and let's bring it down. And now understand this very carefully. Let me take this on the next page. So we have a very fresh page when you take a printout for CAM versus EOMP, such a critical subject matter. Now take an example. Okay, if there is a contingent liability disclosed in the notes, which is $10 million, the profit before tax of the company is $35 million, right? Look at the first situation. The company is listed. Sorry, the company is non-listed. And number two, the company is listed. Now, if it is a non-listed company, just for the sake of knowledge, you need not to do this in exam paper, but just for the sake of knowledge, company is non-listed, right? What will you do? You will tell examiner that because the matter is material, can you find the percentage? Anyone? 10 divided by $35 million. Can you find me the percentage quickly? Okay, because the matter is material, 28%. Okay, because the matter is material, as it is 28% of the profit before tax, and the contingent liability is adequately disclosed in the notes, but its notes, the auditor will emphasize the note number where the contingent liability is disclosed for the attention of the shareholders. Full stop. That is it. Because the matter is material, as it is 20% of the profit before tax, and the contingent liability is correctly disclosed, but the auditor will emphasize the note number, but the contingent liability is disclosed for the attention of the shareholder. So the shareholder will go to the note number and read it, right? So you have just drawn the attention. The auditor will emphasize the note number where the contingent liability is disclosed for the attention of the shareholder through an EOMP, through an emphasis of matter paragraph. As the matter is correctly disclosed, the auditor will issue an unqualified opinion, right? So if you want to tell the opinion, no impact on the opinion, right? So only the attention will be drawn to the shareholder through an EOMP, and the auditor will issue an unqualified opinion because the matter has been correctly reflected. This will lead to a modified report due to inclusion of an emphasis of a matter paragraph, due to inclusion of a EOMP. So the report will become modified not because of the opinion. The report will become modified because of the EOMP. Now read this paragraph and tell me, are you all clear? Before I draft the paragraph for a listed company. Read in 1 minute or 30 seconds and tell me, are you clear? I'm waiting for your chat box. Clear or not clear, whatever. Read and tell me. Okay, one student saying clear. So is the opinion modified? No. But have we inserted a paragraph? Yes. So why are we issuing a modified report? Because of the opinion or because of the paragraph? Because of the paragraph. Clear? Now bring a twist. ISA 701 says CAM should be given precedence over EOMP in a listed company. Now, if we go by that rule of the ISA 701 here, let's see how it impacts this. Company is listed, same situation. Company is listed. Now see what? The auditor will include the matter relating to contingent liability as a key audit matter. As a key audit matter, full stop. The auditor will justify to the shareholders why this matter was considered as a key audit matter. That is because it's 28% of the profit before tax, and it's material and impact the decisions of the shareholders and impact the decisions of the shareholders, comma, full stop. The auditor will include the matter relating to the contingent liability as a CAM. The auditor will justify to the shareholder why this matter was considered as CAM, because the ISA 701 requires two things. First, why this matter was considered as CAM, number one, full stop. Further, the auditor will justify how this key audit matter relating to contingent liability was addressed during the audit by explaining the audit procedures, and the audit evidence gathered on the subject matter. You are not explaining the procedures in exam paper, right? You're just writing this journally, full stop. But if you look at an actual report of a company ever, I've shared reports of ICI Pakistan, and it is also available in my previous webinars as well. You will see there is a commentary. In one column, the auditor tell why it is a CAM. In the second column, the auditor tell how it was addressed. So when you do the commentary of the same matter, it's more broader. Now, when you tell the procedures and when you tell the evidences, will it become a pretty lengthy commentary on contingent liability? Look at emphasis, look at CAM. In CAM, you are telling two things. Why this matter was mentioned as a CAM, and how this matter was further, how the key audit matter relating to contingent liability was addressed during the audit. These are two parameters of CAM which you need to write in exam paper. But you're not writing the procedures, right? You're not writing the evidences. You're simply saying that the auditor will explain the procedures and the evidence on the subject matter to the shareholders. So the shareholder knows exactly what you've done. No, CAM doesn't require an introduction, right? You simply, in the CAM, you can write an introduction that the following methods included are identified as key audit matters during the conduct of the audit. That can be an introduction, right? Because there can be several CAM during audits. So you can put an introductory statement that the following are the key audit matters identified during the course of the audit. Introduction 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But for every CAM, you need to tell why this matter was considered as CAM and how it was addressed in the audit. So are we providing an additional commentary on a contingent liability which we have not provided in the case of emphasis of a meta paragraph? In the case of emphasis, we were just drawing attention. Kindly go and read the note number. Can you find the difference between EOMP and CAM? In EOMP, we are just telling shareholder, go and read the note number. But in CAM, we are saying why I considered this as CAM and what I did. When you see the actual report, that is a big commentary. What I did is a big commentary. So are you providing an additional commentary when you are reporting the matter as CAM in a case of a listed company? So is CAM an additional commentary? Is that one of the benefit of CAM? CAM is an additional commentary, right? Are you clear, all of you? Right, one final thing. So CAM is just a disclosure in the financial statement? No, that was the similarity. What else CAM is? CAM is key audit matter is included is a subjective areas of the financial statements like estimates. CAM is also a change in accounting policy. CAM is also a change in any regulation, like the company has adopted new corporate governance for the first time or has implemented corporate governance for the first time. CAM is also for a change in any regulation. For example, the company adopted corporate governance for the first time, or any new accounting standard for the first time is also a CAM. CAM is also the risky areas in the financial statements identified by the auditor at the planning stage. CAM is also for significant key disclosures in the notes to financial statements like related party or contingent liability. Whereas emphasis is only for a disclosure. Emphasis is too narrow, right? Emphasis is only looking for a disclosure only, but CAM is so broader, risky areas, subjective areas, estimates, change of policies, regulations, or contingent liability. Or CAM is also for any significant change in business operation, like any new accounting software. So the management introduced a new accounting software. CAM is also for any significant change in business operations, like any new accounting software or any new addition in the company. The company has introduced something new in the company. That is also a CAM. Key audit matter. What exactly is it? Key audit matter is equal to areas of focus during audit. So whenever we go to the audit, do we have areas of focus at a planning stage where we will be focusing on? So when you go to the audit, do we focus on risky areas? Do we focus on accounting policies? Do we focus on change from the last year? Do we focus on key disclosures? So any area of focus becomes the key audit matter. Yes, CAM is very lengthy. If you actually download a listed company report, you will see pages and pages and pages written on CAM. Larger a listed company like Amazon, like IBM, like Google, Microsoft, Apple, larger the listed companies, more the CAM will be, because CAM is an area of focus where the auditor must have focus during the course of audit. You need to prioritize CAM during the audit. You cannot report every area of focus, but the most important one, like 8 to 10 or 10 to 12, for example. So are you all clear what CAM is? But if an estimate is wrong, will it lead to a CAM or will it lead to a modification of an opinion? If an estimate is wrong, will it lead to a CAM or will it lead to a modification of the opinion? Yes, each year CAM will be different, right? Each year CAM will be different because each year areas of focus are different. Some might be repetitive, modification of opinion, right? Okay, but if the matter is a misstatement, accounting policy is wrong, can you give a CAM or will you modify the opinion? The company has not taken a retrospective effect of the accounting policy. Will you give a CAM? So remember that in CAM, the word M means matter, which is positive, means there is no misstatement. If the matter is a misstatement, it cannot be a CAM. Look at the last bullet and tell me, are you all clear with it? Look at the last bullet and tell me, are you all clear with it? Before I say you goodbye. M, key audit matter, right? CAM, K-A-M. The word M means matter, which is positive. Look at this, Brendan, CAM. The CAM includes M, right? In CAM, the word M means, I've written very clear statement. Brendan, I hope you're getting it. In CAM, the word M means meta, right? Okay, better, the letter M means, is that clear? The letter M means meta, which is positive, right? But is if everyone clear with the last statement? Are you understanding what the last statement tells you? What the last statement tells you? So key audit matter is very broad, right? But key audit matter cannot be included for a misstatement because for a misstatement, there is an opinion. But will a key audit matter modify the audit report? Will a key audit matter modify the audit report? Will the key audit matter modify the audit report? Tell me. No. Have you got the answer to that in the session today? Right? So if there is a misstatement cannot reflect into a CAM, right? For a misstatement, there is a separate area of the audit report known as opinion. So if there is a misstatement will be reflected in an opinion. So if an accounting policy is wrong, that is not a CAM. But if the accounting policy is correct, but that is an important accounting policy, then that is a CAM. So for negative things, you cannot include CAM, right? So CAMs are area of focus, right? CAMs are not misstatements. I hope you're all clear on that, right? CAM are areas of focus, not misstatements. Okay, so we had a very lengthy session on reporting today, but I hope the 3 hours must have brought some clarity to all of you, and you will be taking a printout of this very long file I have developed today on day 4, but it's an all exclusive reporting file. So that means when you take a printout of this very long file for day 4 and we meet back on day 5 tomorrow, so the agenda would be looking into going concern, exam questions, marking schemes. For audit report, the marking scheme is 1 mark for everything, right? We look at going concern, specific questions, marking schemes, because there is a bit of difference in the marking scheme of a going concern area. And I'll bring more clarity to MURGC tomorrow. We'll look at matters to be communicated to TCWG. That should not take much time because that's a pretty small syllabus area and have just come twice in the past paper. And I'll try spending a bit broader time on audit evidence tomorrow as one of the last area of reinforcement. So 3 reinforcement areas will be taken tomorrow on day 5, the final one. And we'll have a final tips and techniques tomorrow as well, that what should be the outcome of this webinar to success. Because over the last 4 days and tomorrow over the last 5 days, you must have learned a lot, but that needs to be reinforced, that needs to be put in, and that needs to be put in for your success. So, but if you're not putting it in your success, then there is no benefit of this webinar, right? So I hope you benefit from this webinar by putting things in the right manner. So I'll Yes, when you're reading the answers, just read through them. Don't get impressed with the length of the answers. Just try to pick the points. Just pick the points, right? Just underline the points and explain them in your own words, right? Don't get distracted with the super lengthy answers, right? Okay, I hope you enjoyed the session today. This was day 4 of the webinar to success, and I'm your tutor Kashif Kamran. Finally signing off from the lengthy day 4. Agenda was audit reporting and much more coming tomorrow on the 5th and the final day. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed the webinar so far and the day 4 today. Have a good day ahead. Study effectively. I wish you all a very best of luck for your upcoming exams. This is your tutor signing off from day 4, webinar to success for AAA. Take care. Have a good day ahead and enjoy your studies for AAA for the upcoming exams. Goodbye and Allah Hafiz.